Y'all, I am so excited to share with you today this total game-changing trick that I learned that keeps your longer synthetic wigs from getting super tangled up and ultimately getting those big knots at the end that you can't get out. And as much as I would like to take credit for coming up with this little trick myself, I didn't. Searching through YouTube, this video popped up on a channel called Zuzu's Life, and she is the one that showed me how to do this. And I tried it on one of my wigs and it worked. It was amazing. I was mind blown. Zuzu's Life, check out her channel. Have you ever wondered why you have to use a wide tooth comb on your synthetic wigs and why you can't just use a regular hairbrush? Well, until quite recently, I didn't really think about it. I just knew you had to use a wide tooth comb and I didn't really question it. But I'm going to explain to you why on a synthetic wig you need to use a wide tooth comb and why you can't use a hairbrush. And it has to do with the differences between synthetic hair and bio hair. And I'm going to explain that to you right now. Bio hair, as it grows, breaks off in various places. So all the little strands of hair as they're coming out, there's little breaks here and there. You may also have some areas that are growing new hair, so those pieces are shorter, and then you have your longer hair that's already there. When you use a regular hairbrush, you can use a regular hairbrush because as you're brushing through, there are all these little breaks in the hair that allow the brush to move through the hair. Synthetic hair, on the other hand, is the same length from the root to the tip. So if you try to take a regular hairbrush and brush straight down, by midway, you're going to start to get a snarled mess that will eventually end up in a big knot at the bottom. Because all of those strands are the same length from the root to the tip. Now the trick to get our synthetic hair to behave more like bio hair is to add in those little breaks along the way from the root to the tip that allow the hairbrush to get through on regular bio hair. The tools that you're going to need are a pair of thinning shears, and you can get them pretty much anywhere, Amazon, and they're very cheap. You'll also need a wig brush and a trash can. Full disclosure, when we do this technique to our wig, it will thin the wig out a little bit. So you are going to lose a little bit of hair, but from my experience owning lots of wigs, you always, for the most part, get more hair than you actually really need. Unless it's a real low density piece, then this will be okay. The other thing to mention, I would not recommend doing this on a super tight curled, texturized wig. It will keep it from tangling, but it's just gonna make it frizzier or more easy to get frizzed up. Now, I have done this technique to all of my longer synthetic wigs. And if I wanted to, I could use a regular hairbrush on all of them. Really long ones too. However, if you are not comfortable with this, I would recommend not doing it on an expensive wig to start. Go to Amazon, find a really long, inexpensive wig. There's tons of them on there. You can always do that first. If you're not comfortable, practice first before you go doing this to one of your pricier pieces. Today, I'm going to be demonstrating this technique with this very long, beautiful wig by Beltress. This is Maxwella 22. So it's 22 inches. And when I wear this, within minutes, there's some sort of tangle going on. And a lot of times there's a knot. It takes very little for this to get tangled. And the more length there is, the more rubbing on clothing, friction, causing the fibers to get agitated and all tangled up. Then brushing through it is a total nightmare. Longer styles like this, a lot of times, are, although beautiful, not practical at all. And if you have one, you might wear it up a lot. So let's get started. Reminder before the big show. These are thinning shears, not regular scissors. They're meant to make little cuts along the hair fiber along the way. If you use regular scissors, you're just gonna cut the hair off. And that's no good. Before we do anything with the scissors, you wanna make sure that whatever wig you're working with is completely brushed out. So you're gonna be going from the tip all the way up to the root, making sure it's completely brushed out. If you run into any huge like knots at the end, if it's one it's causing you a lot of trouble, sometimes it's easier just to cut the little knot out and move on from there. Because after we do this, you're not gonna have any problems with knots anymore. And it's gonna be awesome. Let's get started. You wanna make sure that your thinning shears are with the little teeth on the bottom, and the section of hair that you choose to use, or the section of hair that you work with at a time, is your personal preference. There's no exact science to that. Now, remember, as I said before, the reason why a regular hairbrush will move through bio hair is because bio hair breaks off in different places along its way down. And you've got some hairs growing in while others are already long, and it's allowing the brush lots of little spaces to kind of get in between all of those little breaks. We are going to simulate that by creating little breaks in the synthetic hair strand. After you've chosen a section to start with, you want to make sure that that section is 100% combed out. Again, you can choose whatever width you want to do your sections in. With some of my wigs, I've even put the sections in little ponytails around and kind of gone around that way instead of just leaving it loose like this. We're making sure it's completely tangle-free, because boy, oh boy, does Miss Maxwella want to tangle. She's fighting me. Just trying to get a little even section. Now, the number of little cuts or breaks in the hair that you make is really a matter of personal preference. Maxwella is 22 inches. I would say for Maxwella, for me, I would do 1, 2, 3, 4 cuts. And I think that would be sufficient. I think maybe like a 28-inch wig, maybe you'd want to do 5 cuts. Because this isn't cutting all the way through, but the more cuts you make, the more it's going to thin out your wig. And I honestly think like on 22 inches, 4 is probably going to be enough for what we're trying to do. Positioning your thinning shears with the teeth side down. Let's make our cuts. I said for this, we were going to do 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then taking your wig brush, starting at the tip, you're going to brush out any of the hair that was cut. So you're going to lose a little bit of hair. Really, this process kills 2 birds with 1 stone. You are not only finding a super awesome way to keep your synthetic wigs from ever tangling and knotting up again, you are also thinning your wig a little bit. And most wigs could stand a little thinning. So you're going to brush all that hair out from the tip all the way up to the root. Now, I'm going to do something that is probably going to give you a heart attack. Going to put the piece I was working with in a ponytail. Then, taking my wig brush, make sure it's all brushed out, I am going to back brush it. Like, So it looks like something that you're definitely gonna have to trash. Have you had a wig like this? Does this ever happen? This is something of nightmares right here. This is the trash. There's no way that you would be able to get that out, ever. Nope. Whole thing, trash can. We are not going to be throwing our wigs away, ladies. Not anymore. Knowledge is power, and we have the power now. So watch the magic happen. Starting from the tip, gently comb, or brush, I should say. And look at what's happening. Holy smokes. And look at that, completely brushed through. How awesome is that? Now you're just gonna work through the rest of the wig in sections. I decided that the easiest way for me to manage the hair as I was moving around was to section it off in these little ponytails. And that way you know exactly what you've worked with and you can easily clip what you've used to another one that's done to know that they're both done. Now I'm going to work through the rest of Maxwella and meet you at the end. And here is our final product. This is Miss Maxwella, and this is the amount of hair that did come out, so full disclosure. You are thinning your wig when you do this. So you're thinning your wig and you're pretty much detangling it forever, which is amazing. I wanted to wear this, but you know that it's just gonna tangle so easily. If you think about the things that happen during the day, if you were wearing this at work, or it'd be rubbing against stuff, your shirt, all the things. I don't know what would be causing all this, but there's always something that causes everything to get all frizzed up. Actually, honestly, with this wig, it takes nothing crazy. I could walk like one of those plastic army men, and it was still not up before I left the driveway in my car. And what I actually use, this is a very good brush. It's called a Detangle Teezer, and it's amazing. It's so awesome. Just simply from the root all the way up. Tangles and knots are no longer your problem. If the wig that you are working with today has a heat-friendly, heat-defiant, high heat, if it's that type of wig, Maxwella is bell tress. All bell tress wigs are high heat wigs. Because we did a lot with the brush, we agitated the fibers a lot. Your ends might be a little yuck. I would suggest, after doing this to a heat-friendly wig, to put a little heat protectant spray on the ends and then run some heat through the ends. So it makes them all nice and soft again. If the curl pattern has relaxed a little bit because of all the brushing that we've done, you can take water and spritz it, and synthetic fiber has style or curl memory. So spritzing and scrunching will bring it right back. And one important thing to know, once synthetic fiber is wet, you don't ever want to brush through it. Brushing through wet synthetic fiber can damage it. It will cause frizz. It'll cause the hair to coil up. It's not good. Glad I was able to share this with you today. And let me know in the comments if you tried it. Thank you so much. Until next time.